What's up YouTube, Jeff back again from DopeTechDaily.com. Today I'm bringing you guys my unboxing of the Moto Z2 Play Verizon Edition. I picked this up yesterday at Best Buy. There's a couple downsides to the Verizon Edition, which I'll talk about in a second, compared to the unlocked version that's coming later this month. But I got this phone for a great deal. Best Buy has it right now for $350 if you do the payment plan. So you get $50 off of the Verizon price, plus you get a JBL Moto mod, the second version, so it's the 2017 version, not the one from last year. You have to mail that in to get that, so I'm going to do that. And then you can also, if you enroll in Best Buy Mobile, if you buy a lot of phones like I do, you can get $25 back as a Best Buy gift certificate. So this is the Moto Z2 Play. It has Snapdragon 626 in it. The downside to the Verizon version is it does have 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigabytes of internal storage. The unlocked model that's coming later this year is going to have 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs internal storage. You got a little sleeve here, which probably just has some paperwork. It's got a bunch of Verizon branded stuff because this is a Verizon branded phone. I think there is some Verizon branding on the back. We'll look at that in a second. There's really nothing too fancy in the box. This is a $400 phone. Again, $350 if you get it through Best Buy. You have a Motorola Turbo Power enabled charger there, so you do get fast charging, which is nice. And then the cable here included in the box, as well as also USB Type-C, which Motorola went to last year, so nothing too surprising about that. You don't get any headphones or anything like that in this box. Not something I really would expect considering the price, so there's really not that much going on with this box. It's a pretty cool packaging though. Nice red packaging for the Verizon version. But that's pretty much it inside the packaging. Let's go ahead and take a look at the phone itself. Now, whenever you buy a phone at Best Buy, they always take the phone out and activate it for me. Sometimes I ask them not to, but I don't really care. It's not a huge problem. Let's boot it up. We'll take a look. It's already been booted up because they had to activate it again. You've got the power button, and then you've got your volume buttons. They're separated here. The power button does have a nice texture to it. It's also got a slightly different color. It's a little bit darker, if you guys can see that there. On the very back side here, you've got the camera module, which does have a huge protruding camera bump just like last year. You're meant to use a style shell or something like this. This is Motorola enticing you to use the Moto mods to sort of cover that bump up, in my opinion. Again, you do have some Verizon branding on the bottom. Not a huge fan of that, but whatever. It's a lot thinner than last year, so that was one big criticism. They took the battery capacity down. So we'll have to see how the battery fares this year. A lot of people were upset because the big feature of the Moto Z Play last year was the amazing battery life. I'll go ahead and peel the plastic off the front. It does show you the back home, all the various labels for everything. The SIM card tray and everything up here is at the top. You have some antenna bands there as well, which, not unexpected. You do have your USB Type-C, and perhaps one of the most important things about this phone is it does have a headphone jack. So if you guys remember last year, the Moto Z and the Moto Z Force Droid, which I actually have my Force Droid, and I'll compare it to it in just a second, they were lacking the headphone jack, but this one does have the headphone jack right there, so that's certainly a nice thing to see. One other thing I really like this year on these phones, compared to last year, I haven't set up my fingerprint scanner yet, but the fingerprint scanner on this phone is much nicer. It looks like the one on the Moto G5 Plus that I reviewed earlier this year. Let's go ahead and do a quick comparison to the Moto Z Force Droid last year. This little square fingerprint scanner, and I wasn't a huge fan of the little square fingerprint scanner they had on it last year. I like this rounded one a little bit better. It gives you a chance to get your finger on there a little bit nicer. It's got a little more surface area to it. I'll go ahead and do the size comparison to the Moto Z Force Droid from last year. You can see right here, the Force Droid is quite a bit thicker as well. This one isn't as razor thin as the Moto Z was last year. I didn't keep my regular Moto Z. I have a Moto Z Play first edition somewhere around here, but I haven't been able to find it today. So hopefully I'll do a future video comparing it. You can see the gray version on the Moto Z2 Play is a lot lighter than the one last year and probably going to catch less fingerprints. This one's a lot easier to get fingerprints on. I don't anticipate getting any fingerprints on this one. The camera modules look very similar, but you'll notice they dropped the Droid branding this year. So even the Verizon branded phones are not going to have the Droid branding. Notice that the modules for the Moto mods still have pretty much the exact same shape. That's because Motorola committed to those modules working for at least a couple years. That way you don't buy some mods and then you have to buy new mods the next year. So pretty much the same height in terms of overall profile, the width. They both got those 5.5-inch 1080p screens on them. And then this one's just a lot thinner. Same placement for the volume. You can see the spacing on the volume buttons have been changed a little bit from last year's phones. Overall, a very nice looking phone. I am a little worried about the battery life. We're going to see how that goes. And again, I think that's a main concern for people. The camera looks very good. f1.7 on the main camera. Snapdragon 626, if it's anything like the 625, it's supposed to improve upon it. Should be very efficient, very snappy. Let's see if we got any. We've got a lot of Verizon stuff on here because it's Verizon branded. Cloud, caller name ID, Message Plus, NFL Mobile, Verizon Navigator, Slacker Radio, Yahoo Weather. So there's a decent amount of what I would call bloatware. Also interesting that Android Wear is preloaded on this phone. I haven't seen Android Wear preloaded on any phones in a while, so that's kind of interesting. And let's go ahead and take a look at the available storage. So right out of the box, you've got 13.12 gigabytes used. So you've only got under 19 gigs available of your 32. That's kind of a big deal to me. That's a reason why I would say the unlocked model would be better to go with. Once the unlocked model comes out, I might sell this one and get the unlocked model just because of the 64 gigs of storage and 4 gigs of RAM. All right, so obviously I'll test the camera, the battery. Software looks pretty good other than that bloatware. You can see they went with the Pixel Launcher style right there. Motorola usually has very good sort of light software, so that should be a good look overall. Let me just show you guys some quick size comparisons to other phones as I always do in my unboxing. This is versus the iPhone 7 Plus. You can see it's almost as tall as the iPhone 7 Plus, so this is definitely a big phone. It's almost as wide as the 7 Plus as well. In fact, pretty much the same width when it comes to this phone and the iPhone 7 Plus. Here's the OnePlus 5, another 5.5-inch phone. It's quite a bit taller than that. I mentioned in my features video of the OnePlus 5 that it's a very pocketable 5.5-inch phone. It's also a little bit wider than the OnePlus 5. Obviously, you've got the Galaxy S8 Plus here. The S8 Plus is going to be taller because of that extra tall aspect ratio, but the Z2 Play is going to be wider, and also the Galaxy S8 Plus is thinner. The LG G6, another flagship this year, it's going to be shorter than the Z2 Play, even with its 18:9 aspect ratio. Similar thickness, and then the width of the Z2 Play is going to be quite a bit wider. And then finally, one of the biggest 5.5-inch Android phones out there, the Xperia XC Premium. You can see the Moto Z2 Play is shorter than that phone. It is also not quite as wide as the XC Premium. The XC Premium is a very big 5.5-inch phone. The Z2 Play is also thinner. All right, so let me know what you guys are interested in on this particular phone. Pretty excited to check it out. It's at a very reasonable price. I've heard a lot of good things from other people who've picked it up. Drop any comments below and I'll be happy to investigate. Find me at dopetechdaily.com, Google+, Instagram, and Twitter at the links in the description. Please like and subscribe if you guys enjoy my content so I can make future videos like this. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.